Namo Amida Bu. There are people who are becoming obsessed with this situation, this virus, this pandemic. There are people who, because they don't have faith, are absolutely terrified and gripped by fear. And to a certain extent, like I've said, I have my fears, I have my concerns. But the thing is, I spent over 20 years of my life, once I moved out of my parents' house, I lived that way. I lived a life of fear and paranoia over what may or may not happen to me. I was always worrying about what if. What if this? What if that? What if I ended up homeless? What if I get cancer? What if I end up on the streets? And that is not living. That is cowering. I focus on Amita Buddha right now. I don't know what tomorrow holds. Am I concerned? Yeah. Am I gripped in fear and terror? No, I'm not. Because I spent 20 years of my life gripped in fear and terror of what may happen to me. You know, every mole I had on my body, could it be cancer? Everything that happened, could I lose my job? Am I going to be homeless? I lived my life from day to day, from moment to moment, gripped in terror because of the way I was programmed. Once I moved out of my parents' house, I lived terrified of the unknown. I was worried about going to hell, worried about ending up on the streets, worried about, getting cancer, getting tuberculosis, you name it. Worried about getting shot, getting mugged when I was a security guard. I worried about everything. And that's how I lived my life. For 20 years, I lived my life like that. That is a perfect description of hell on earth. And I feel for these people, the majority of which in our society are now living the way I used to live. Am I carefree and without all worry right now? No. I've got my concerns and fears, but it doesn't do me any good to live mortified of what may happen. I don't know. I'm not a Buddha. I can't say what the future holds. And I've had a long life up until this point, and I've been through a lot. I've been through hurricanes. I've lived on the streets. I've lived in homeless shelters. I've had people threaten my life. I've been robbed. I've been, cussed out. I've gone through various illnesses where I thought I was going to die. I don't know what the future holds. And all these people who are declaring themselves makeshift prophets, saying what may or may not happen, they don't know any more than you or I do about the future. I don't care who they are. I don't care what pundit they are. I don't care, how good they are at their predictions. We don't know what's going to happen. And I've seen people I know posting stupid stuff and telling people, be careful. Well, how the hell are you going to be careful? You do the best you can to stay alive. You do the best you can to be cautious. I was on the bus a few days ago, and they've got it set up to where you don't even pay in Houston. You just go to the back of the bus, and they've got everything screened off. And the lady driving the bus was a woman my age or older, and she's literally lost her mind. And she was screaming at people. She was screaming at a couple for being too close together, and she was freaking out. And this is a grown woman who is driving herself insane and creating fear and panic and anxiety in people just trying to live their normal lives because she's afraid of this. And I see this in the media, and the media is loving it here in the United States. They're perpetuating this. You know, observe the 6-foot rule. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And people are terrified of what may happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Do I care? Yes, of course I care. I live in the society just like all of you guys do. We're all in this together, whether we like it or not. But allowing it to destroy my faith and my life, that ain't going to happen. I mean, I live, I die, but that's any day of the week under normal circumstances. And I can't, like I said, I know what it's like to exist paralyzed by fear, because that's how I used to live daily, hourly, minute by minute. I refuse to do that now. I refuse. If I lose everything, Namo Amida Bu. If I gain everything, Namo Amida Bu. In the end, it comes down to Namo Amida Bu. And that's all I have right now is Namo Amida Bu. The Dharma of Amita, my faith in Amita. I'm not going to live my life paranoid, because I've lived most of my life in that state. Before and after moving out of my parents' house, life was about living in fear, guilt, constant self-scrutinizing, scrupulosity to the point of paranoia. That's not living. That's not being happy. I have to focus on the good in life. I have to focus, like I've said before, on the wildflowers growing through the cracks in the pavement. If I allow doubt and fear to grip me and to terrify me, I'm not living. I'm not even existing. I'm cowering in a faithless, fear-induced paralysis of the mind. I know what that's like. I've lived like that. I grew up in that state. I watched my mother and my dad live in that state. They taught me well how to exist in that state. And I'm telling you guys, as someone who has lived that way, that's not living. I'm not saying deny the facts and live a Pollyanna delusionment of avoiding the truth, but living a life of terror, being a terrorist to your own mind, it'll destroy your health mentally and physically. That's not what we're meant to be. When I cling to the sleeves of Amida Buddha, I'm saying to him, I don't know the answers. I'm saying, Lord, I'm scared like everyone else, and my fear does nothing for me. And so I choose to take my focus off of all of this crap that's out in the media, that's out on social media. I choose to take my focus off of that and put it on Amida. And in my free time, I choose to take it off of all of the fear-mongering crap and sensationalism and put it on watching a music video or watching a comedy, something that will make me laugh, something that will take my mind off of the paranoia and fear that grips everyone. I stock for the future. I'm like everyone else, but I have my paper towels, I have my toilet paper, I have food. I don't need to go to the store and spend all my money stockpiling. I don't need 45 of these. I don't need 500 family size packages of toilet paper or paper towels. I don't need 40 bags of rice and 500 pounds of beans. I don't need a bunker. I certainly don't need a bug out bag. You have people talking about getting a bug out bag. Where are you going to bug out to, man? I don't want to bug out. I lived my life bugged out, running around, looking over my shoulder. Like I said, I've had people threaten to put a cap in my ass. I've been robbed. I've shared a lot of this with you guys. Life is short. Life is impermanent. That's the way of life. Now, does it mean you should not regard your life? No, this life in the Saha realm, as filled with troubles and fears and catastrophes as it is, this is a gift from the Buddha. This is a gift to encounter the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Very few realms are as conducive to encountering the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha as the Saha realm. And I appreciate this. And so I choose to live a life of faith. Living a life of faith is not a life of naivete. I may be a stupid bamboo, but when it comes to my faith, I'm very wise because I've learned I can't do it on my own. I've learned about Amida Buddha. I've learned about the Amida Dharma. I've learned about Nimbutsu. I've learned about saying his name. I've learned through talking to my sensei and friend Josho Adrian Surlia about changing my focus. And I've heard not just him, but other monks in the Buddhist faith make that comment. And it's a very good technique to learn. Yes, there's stuff going on. Yes, the media is saying this. What you do is you get off NBC, MSNBC, you get off CBS, you get off, for crap's sake, stay away from CNN and Fox News. Stay away. I mean, get your information, become aware of what's going on in your world. That's common sense. And I endorse everyone to do that. Just like dealing with this pandemic, use common sense. Common sense is not being gripped by fear and terror. It's not languishing in dread of the unknown. Amita is not a fake Buddha. The Pure Land is not a mythological place. I speak as a man who encounters Amida Buddha in my own way daily, who has had Amida affirming to me the Pure Land, just as he will to you if you entrust yourself and your karmic destiny to him. Receiving Amida's gift of Shinjin was the greatest event in my life. It was the turning point, because I now realize in my old age that when they refer to this as diamond-like faith, it is diamond-like for me. It cuts through all the BS that is presented to you by a corrupt, twisted society whose only powers are narcissism and an ability to manipulate others for personal and financial gain through fear. I've lived that way too long. I'm not going to live that way anymore. I'm not. I don't know how much longer I have to live on this planet. It may be, I may die today. It may be 20 years. It may be 30 years. I don't know. But I know where I'm going, guys. And that's not wishful thinking. I am going in my next life to be reborn in a lotus blossom in the Pure Land of Amitabha Buddha. I take that quite literally. I mean that. And when I say Amita is a real Buddha, I say that based on my own relationship with him. I tell you, there's nothing short of a miracle how I'm viewing this situation. Based on where I came from, based on how I survived up until receiving Shinjin, it's miraculous. And that miracle is my faith in Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. And the saying of his name is how I cling to his sleeves and how I find strength to divert my focus from the madness, the complete, total, utter chaos, the fatalism, the black pilling that's being marketed out there on every social media site, from Facebook to Twitter to YouTube, you name it. That's all you hear about is the gloom and the doom, and people are trying to sell you bug out bags. They're trying to sell you bunkers. They're trying to sell you, K rations. it makes me think of my family that taught me how to be like that, how to view life through the lens of fear, through the lens of doubt, through the lens of fatalism. I learned from my father, who would constantly grasp his heart and work himself up so much that his face would turn red, his blood pressure would, and the man was on high blood pressure medicine and heart medication. He destroyed his faith through fear of dying. He destroyed his health through fear of dying because he had no faith. And growing up in the Southern Baptist environment I grew up in Texas, my parents believed themselves to be people of faith who were saved. They had entrusted themselves to Jesus, and once saved, always saved, they believed. Or so they claimed. If they had, they wouldn't have lived in terror. My mother was constantly depressed and crying, popping Valiums like candy. She took my dad's blood pressure medication. She took my dad's heart medicine, and eventually she had a stroke. Eventually, my dad went to the hospital and had heart valve replacement surgery, and he so despaired of life that he laid down and just died. You know, I'm not going to live a faithless, fear-induced life because I know from personal experience the hell that is. I'm not destined for hell, and I refuse to live in hell while I'm here. I'm destined for the heaven, beyond all heavens, the pure land of Amitabha Buddha, Sukhavati, the land of ultimate bliss. So why should I choose to focus on fear and death and hell? Why should I choose to focus on doubt and annihilation? Why should I choose to focus on a future I don't know? I'm not a psychic, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a seer. I'm a normal person like you guys who makes human mistakes, whose judgment is tenuous at best. But I know someone better than me. I know someone more competent than all these governments that are failing right now. I know someone better and more intelligent and more reliable than the stock market or modern medicine or modern science. I know someone more powerful than any priest or preacher. I know Amitabha Buddha. I know the change knowing him has brought about in my life, a life that I lived in fear and doubt, terrified of the next moment. I am not going to live like that anymore. I mean, you do what you do you, but I'm sharing with you the faith and the power of faith in Amida Buddha. That is why it is called other power faith. It is outside of this realm and its influence. Amida's light reaches into our darkness wherever we are. And I know what it's like to be terrified, and I know what it's like to lay in front of that shrine with tears rolling down my face, not knowing what the future holds. There's no shame in that. to pour out your heart before Amita and to say, I'm filled with doubt, I'm filled with fear, I can't maintain a calm Buddhist exterior or interior. Help me, Lord. There's no shame in that. That is faith. Because you're admitting that you're a bamboo. You're admitting you're a spiritual idiot. You're admitting that you don't have the mental or emotional or even physical resources to combat this monster that's being perpetuated everywhere. You're admitting through admitting to Amida Buddha that you don't have faith, that you don't have power, that you are filled with doubt. That, and I know this sounds strange, that is the greatest faith, because you're entrusting yourself to Amida Buddha. You're saying, I can't do this. I'm a bad Buddhist. I can't be calm. I can't be meditative. I can't get my mind off of this. That is faith. Because by admitting this, you're admitting that you're a spiritual idiot. You're admitting that you're not enlightened and that you can't help yourself through your own power, through your own means. And so you entrust to Amitabha Buddha. And that's when you let go, you let Amida, and you simply allow Amida's love and light to enfold you as you cry, as you let go, as you sit there like a child or lay face down before the altar like a child, trembling, admitting that you're scared, admitting that you're terrified. And you let his love enfold you. It's real. It's not a concept. It's not a myth. He's real. His love is real. The Pure Land is real. All this stuff going on around you is temporary. All this stuff that the media and social media want to treat as real is temporary. This is real. This is real. This isn't real. Yeah. This is a dream. Amitabha Buddha is real. The Pure Land of ultimate bliss and peace is real. And you are in an opportunity right now to simply take your focus off of being terrified and place it on Amida. By facing the West and saying Namo Amitabha Buddha in whatever language you're comfortable with, you're allowing the light of Amida to be your focus. A focus on the Pure Land, guys. I know it's not always easy. I know living in this realm of doubt and fear, we will get caught up in that. And I'm no exception. I'm no great sage or prophet, but I am a man of simple faith. And what makes my simple faith great is not me. It's the other power of Amitabha Buddha, his healing, strengthening love and support. It's not about me having the right kind of faith. It's about me knowing that Amitabha Buddha loves me. That Amitabha Buddha, no matter what condition my physical body is, what condition my financial situation is, he's there. And once this life ends, however it ends and whatever causes it, I will see Amitabha Buddha. Not because of my great faith, but because of the faith that comes from him. The faith he has bestowed upon me. That knowing that he and the Pure Land are real. That knowing that saying his name connects me with him in a way that I cannot do on my own. I love you all, and I ask you to entrust yourself to Amitabha Buddha like a little child entrusts in its parent. Namo Amida Bu.